Hello, friends, and welcome to Mary Trump Live. As you can see, I'm not Mary Trump. Mary is on vacation, so I have the honor of filling in. You can call me Brown Mary from Earth 3, or you could just call me Waj. And I wish I was actually living in Earth 3 and not this Earth, the worst Earth in this timeline, because, folks, the dumbest people on Earth are taking our money, our Medicaid, our food benefits, destroying our schools. Why? To line the pockets of the rich. We might not have public schools, but in America, damn it, we'll have concentration camps. You know what? The price of eggs are going to go up, but Moody's credit rating of America is going to go down. But don't you worry, because you know what's also going up? Measles. You might need some health care, but you can't afford health care because the Republicans in their big billionaire bill from hell have decided to cut nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid, but they found $175 billion for ICE. So more prisons and more concentration camps, right? As people are hungry, as people are starving, as people don't have jobs, the rich will get richer, we will get sicker, and we will get poor. This, folks, is the United States of America in 2025. This, folks, is Donald Trump's America. And look how much damage has been done in 6 months. In 6 months. And we have this mother effer for another 3.5 years. Folks, I'm a bit salty today. I have a bit of righteous rage. I think we need some righteous rage. There's going to be no bullshit today. We're going to call it out. We're going to call it the fascism, the racism, the greed, the white supremacy, and the oligarchy. As I've always said, white supremacy has always been self-destructive, but rarely has it been this dumb. Let's dive in. Well, folks, as you're worrying about whether or not you're going to have Medicaid, which, 20% of Americans have and rely on as their primary means of getting health care, Republicans with a narrow majority passed what they call the Big Beautiful Bill, which, let's just be honest, is the Republican billionaire bill, which will add about $3.3 trillion to the debt because, they're deficit hawks, and will extend the tax cuts that Republicans gave to the richest people on earth during the first Trump administration. Well, how will you pay for those tax cuts? Certainly, they don't pay for themselves. Republicans have decided to take nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid. Who needs Medicaid? And they're going to get rid of SNAP benefits. Who needs food supplements? And as we know, if this passes, about 20% of, actually 25% of America's nursing homes are going to go. So bye, Grandma and Grandpa. Thank you for all the memories. And also, 17 million people will be kicked off of their health care. And as we know that people will pay more money for energy because we're going to go after solar, folks. But the rich are going to get their tax cuts. And this is a bill, folks, that is 900 pages long. What's also in this bill that we're going to talk about in today's show, and we're going to give you the specifics. Thank you to Mercedes, DJ Mercedes, who brought the stats. I asked her, I said, Mercedes, everyone's pissed off about Medicaid, as they should be, and everyone's pissed off about SNAP, as they should be, and everyone's pissed off about rural hospitals closing, as they should be. But we got to tell people that as Republicans have found a way to cut Medicaid and kill USAID to save money, and by the way, as a result of gutting USAID, 300,000 children have died. They somehow, folks, just magically found $175 billion for ICE. Oh, ICE, Trump's Gestapo that is unleashed to terrorize Americans. I'm going to call it for what it is, folks. Like I said, I'm in a mood today. Gestapo, masked, weaponized agents. They're terrorizing Americans. Mercedes is putting her hands on her face like this. Is it too much, Mercedes? Is it too soon? She's giving me 2 thumbs up. I got a You Go Watch by Cecilia. As this is all happening, and we're about to celebrate the birth of our nation, right? Independence Day, July 4th, we had senators who previously said, folks, this is a disastrous bill. I have thoughts and concerns about this bill. Oh, I don't like the cuts to Medicaid. Just somehow, folks, these moderate Republicans always end up doing the wrong things. People like Lisa Murkowski And if you don't believe me, Lisa Murkowski, just go read her exact quotes. Go read what Josh Hawley said about this bill. Oh yeah, Josh Hawley also voted for this bill. And so, because some reporters still do their job, they brought the receipts and they confronted that moderate Republican, Lisa Murkowski. Why, oh why, Lisa Murkowski, would you vote for a bill that you said would be disastrous for Americans and gut Medicaid and Mercedes? Tell the people what Lisa Murkowski said.
Senator Paul said that that your vote was a bailout for Alaska at the expense of the rest of the country.
Oh my God.
That's what Senator Paul said.
Senator, we've got the...
I didn't say it, ma'am. I'm just asking for your response.
My response is I have an obligation to the people of the state of Alaska. Do I like this bill? No, because I tried to take care of Alaska's interests.
That was amazing. Did you see that pregnant pause? For a second, I thought, was there a glitch in the video? Nope, saw it again. She just sat there dumbfounded, just going, trying to come up with some bullshit. What happened is that her state was saved. Her state got some protections. So in order to save herself and her seat, she got bought off. Let's keep it blunt. And she said to everyone watching from all around the world, 1,000 people have tuned in. Thanks so much. I'm Brown Mary from Earth 3, I promise. Lisa Murkowski is like, y'all can lose your Medicaid. Y'all can lose your benefits. Y'all can get your hospital shut down. I got mine, and I made sure the Alaskans know that I protected them. So F y'all. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, Susan Thompson. We're bringing all the receipts. The cruelty. So now it passes in the Senate, right? And just, I want to just harp on this for a second. When you all want moderate Republicans, right? When you court these moderate Republicans, when the Democratic establishment says, you know what, we need some moderate Republicans up in here in the DNC instead of a Palestinian speaker or instead of a transgender speaker, I give you this. When given the chance to do the right thing, they always do the wrong thing. I'll give credit where credit's due. Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis came out and said this bill is disastrous. Do you know what happened to Tom Tillis? Anyone want to tell folks in the comment section? Yeah. Tom Tillis has to retire because Donald Trump aimed the cannons at Tom Tillis. So he bullied these Republican senators. None of them had a spine. And I give you Lisa Murkowski, the moderate. Well, 3 people had a spine, but it still wasn't enough. It passed. So now it goes to the House, folks. And right now, votes are open, but something odd is happening in the House right now, folks. Even though Republicans have the majority, have you noticed it hasn't passed the House yet? And if it does, Mercedes will give me the cue. The reason why it hasn't passed the House, right? It's facing an uphill battle because House Republicans realize, oh shit, Americans are realizing that this bill sucks. The latest poll shows that 60% of Americans don't like it. The bill is at kind of a standstill right now, and we have a clip. Mercedes, play it.
On Capitol Hill today, attention now shifts to the House, with President Donald Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill officially heading to the floor overnight, but facing a potential uphill battle in Trump's own party after the bill narrowly squeaked through the Senate with a tie-breaking vote from Vice President J.D. Vance.
The bill as amended is passed.
Republican senators made changes to the bill to get it through. Now, some moderates worrying there are too many cuts, while some Republican hardliners in the House think the changes weaken the cuts they want.
I can't imagine they have the vote. This whole thing is, I don't know what to call it. It's a show.
Speaker Mike Johnson still optimistic he can pass the bill.
I encouraged them to amend it as lightly as possible. They went a little further than many of us would have preferred.
Really? I love it, folks. Listen, there's a great meme that I love that people who watch me know I quote often. It's the Japanese actor Ken Watanabe from the movie Godzilla, and the camera slowly zooms in. He goes, "Let them fight. Let them fight. Let them eat each other alive." You know what? This is a timeline from hell for those who joined us. That's how I kicked off the show, Earth 3. I want out. I want out of this timeline, right? This idiocracy. And by the way, rest in peace, the analogies to idiocracy. I don't think I can use that anymore because if you've seen the movie Idiocracy, even the people in Idiocracy weren't this idiotic, right? Republicans know this will destroy their base. Thomas Massey. I'm so angry at this timeline that you all have me agreeing with Thomas Massey. You all have me agreeing with Rand Paul. You all have me agreeing, I'm going to throw up in my mouth with Marjorie Taylor Greene and friggin' Tucker Carlson when they attacked Ted Cruz over, U.S. joining Israel on its unilateral strikes. Folks, not only are Republicans eating each other alive because they realize, oh crap, now we have to vote for this, and our king and daddy Donald Trump is demanding with his arbitrary deadline of July 4th that we get this passed. Now you also have Mother Nature. Yes, Mother Nature is getting in the way, delaying this vote because some lawmakers can't return to Washington. Oh, thanks to climate change. Can't make this up. The bill, folks, like I said, is 900 pages long, and House Republican leaders aren't even planning to make any changes, as you heard, which means lawmakers may only have a few hours to skim what's in the bill. But don't you worry, they're not the only ones who don't know what's in this bill that, again, is going to add $3.3 trillion to the debt, that is going to gut Medicaid, that is going to gut SNAP, that is going to shut down so many rural hospitals just to pay for tax cuts for the richest people on earth. You know who else doesn't know what's in this big, beautiful bill that they have touted as the cornerstone of their administration? Donald Trump. This is a chef's kiss moment. Right before we were about to go live, Mercedes alerted me to, folks, I'm in a mood today. You can't make this shit up. Mercedes alerted me to this news item in the New York Times where Donald Trump met with moderate members of the Republican Party, the ones who care about Main Street, touting his legislative wins and hearing concerns, according to two sources who spoke out. But three other sources said, not making this up, he seemed confused about his own bill, warning Republicans not to touch Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security, despite his legislation slashing at least one of them. Oh, it came from Notice, not New York Times. Thank you, Mercedes. Came from Notice. But as sources say, one member responded to Donald Trump, quote, "But we're touching Medicaid in this bill." So when I say that we can no longer use idiocracy, folks, as an analogy, I give you this. We're being killed by the dumbest people on earth. And as I was talking to Mercedes beforehand, I was like, I don't know what's worse. The fact that America's dying in real time, or that we're being destroyed by the stupidest, most incompetent people, right? Like if Lex Luthor kills you, you go, respect, Lex Luthor, supervillain, right? If the Joker comes after you, it's the Joker. I get it. But this is like being killed by Stiltman. All right. The man doesn't even know what's in his own bill, but he wants to bum rush it because he wants the win for the July 4th parades. And as we've talked about, we've talked about the cuts to Medicaid, SNAP. The one aspect that I want people to really focus on, because it coincides with the cruelty. I said before, right, the self-destructive aspect of white supremacy, right? It's the racism and the greed, folks, the original twin sins of America. It's exemplified through Donald Trump and MAGA and his presidency. If you don't believe me, I give you this week. While he was announcing this billionaire bill from hell, he announced it from Florida, where he was touring the Alligator Alcatraz, which I refuse to call it Alligator Alcatraz. I call it a concentration camp, right? A hidden portion of this 900-page bill is that as they're taking out our Medicaid, which is going to kill fellow Americans, it will kill Americans, folks. All right? I want people to sit with that. Republicans found $175 billion for ICE. And for context, and thank you, Mercedes, for pulling up the data that I asked for her to get for us. The current annual budget for ICE is $10 billion. They found $175 billion in this billionaire bill, right? Under this version of the bill that passed the Senate, the agency would receive more than $100 billion through 2029. Well, what are they going to spend this money on? $45 billion for detention facilities, $46 billion for the border wall, $14 billion for deportations, and ICE would go from about 6,000 deportation officers to 10,000 new agents by 2029. And wait, Mercedes has a... Oh, not okay. You got me. I was looking at a comment. She said, we want to correct the records. We like our facts here. As you can see, we brought the receipts. It was Notice, not the New York Times. But according to Notice, Donald Trump has no idea what's in his bill. But what's in the bill is $175 billion for ICE, which I call the modern Gestapo, masked armed agents that are terrorizing Americans, that are kidnapping innocent brown immigrants, sending them to foreign prisons without any due process. People like Kilmar Abrego Garcia that are kidnapping students like Rameza Ozturk off the street simply for co-writing an op-ed, that are kidnapping pro-Palestinian students like Mahmoud Khalil without any crime. And this week, folks, Donald Trump said, I'm open to stripping American citizens of their citizenship. And this is after he already said that, you know what? We're not just going to deport undocumented immigrants and legal immigrants. We're going to deport U.S. citizens to places like El Salvador. And now we don't have to even deport them to concentration camps in El Salvador or Sudan. We got our own Alcatraz Alligator Island, or as I like to call it, a concentration camp. And I want to remind folks that the one industry that has profited in the past 6 months, the one industry who saw their stocks rise during election night, anyone want to take a guess? Private prisons. So your kids won't have money for public school, but there will be money for private prisons. You won't have Medicaid, but what we will have is concentration camps if the House Republicans vote on this. And I want to remind folks with the math, you just need 4 House Republicans to say no. Can we find 4 House Republicans to find some moral courage, some integrity, and some spine? Let's see, folks. Let's move on to the next story. Private prisons that donated to Donald's campaign. Thank you, Mercedes. She said that's the cherry on top. Folks, like I said before, I'll say it again. The through line. What are the 2 original sins of America? White supremacy, capitalism, racism, and greed, manifested through the creature that is Donald Trump and MAGA. The 2 sins that we have refused to confront, the 2 sins that we have refused to uproot. And as a result, those 2 sins have come together and are now destroying us in real time through the dumbest people on earth. Faye, I am not taking any prisoners tonight. Folks, I was born and raised in California. I walk slow, but I talk and think like a New Yorker. I think fast, I talk fast, but my wife, who was a runner, is so pissed off, I amble. So you got me today. You got me on full mode, for better or worse. I don't know if people are digging this or not. Usually I'm a little bit more jolly and chill and chilling. But you know what? They're going to take away our Medicaid, folks. And they have a concentration camp. And all of our fears that we've been saying on Mary Trump's show, The Nerd Avengers, for years, is coming to fruition. I co-host a show with Danielle. Danielle is a Black queer woman. I'm the son of Pakistani immigrants. I'm a Muslim. People of color have been saying it's not economic anxiety. It's racial anxiety. It's racism. You got to name it. The oligarchy, fascism. And here it is. If you don't believe me, look at that 900-page bill. And inshallah, I'm hoping, I'm praying that Thomas Massey and a few other Republicans can see the writing on the wall. And the poll that just came out last week, folks, 60% of Americans are against this bill, and most Americans don't even know about this bill. So imagine when they actually know what's in this bill. I think that number is going to go up. Can we find 4 House Republicans? Time will tell. But because we live in the freaking worst timeline and the sixth circle of hell, we're not in the 7th circle, let me spin the wheel of horrors right now. And to prove my point, it's about greed and the oligarchy and the billionaires. Let's look at resistance. Surely, folks, people will be resisting this fascism, this corruption, this cruelty, this billionaire shakedown. Nope. I give you all Paramount. Yes, Paramount, the corporation that owns CBS News and 60 Minutes. Instead of, resisting, Paramount just last night decided to bend the knee like ABC and like CNN before it and make a multi-million-dollar settlement, even though they didn't have to. Why? Because we have the First Amendment. We have Supreme Court precedent, New York Times versus Sullivan. They could have fought this case and actually won it, but they decided, folks, and I'm going to use the words that matter, bribe. They bribed Donald Trump. It's a bribe. Paramount decided to pay Donald Trump $16 million to settle a bullshit lawsuit that Donald Trump brought out because he sued CBS for billions of dollars because he did not like a segment that 60 Minutes aired on Kamala Harris, right? And it was a desperate attempt to kill off what he labeled as, quote, a vote interference lawsuit. Just bullshit. They made an initial pitch of $20 million, which he rejected last month. He said, no, $25 million, plus you have to apologize. And this month, we were begging, all of us, saying, Paramount, don't bend the knee. Paramount, don't bend the knee. 60 Minutes was saying, don't bend the knee. But Sherry Redstone, who's the CEO of Paramount Plus, Well, she wants to line the wheels for a merger. She wants a merger for Spyglass. So to line the wheels and grease the wheels for this merger and to make sure that Donald Trump won't use and abuse his power as the president and block the merger, she decided, folks, to bribe Donald Trump and give him $16 million. I know that Mercedes played the slide, folks. The money will reportedly cover Trump's legal fees and fund his future presidential library. Because, folks, you know that Donald Trump is a reader. And notably, there's no apology or any admission of wrongdoing in this deal. Again, Donald Trump wanted $25 million and an admission of wrongdoing. They said, okay, we'll give you $16 million, but no admission of wrongdoing. And he goes, okay, sure. Again, why? Because Paramount and Sherry Redstone is trying to finalize an $8 billion merger with Skydance Media. And Trump, by holding up the FCC approval practices, had them by the throat. So they gave them a little bit of a bribe. They didn't have the $400 million like Qatar to give him a private jet. So they gave him $16 million instead. The Writers Guild of America East is calling this out, slamming the settlement as a, quote, transparent attempt to curry favors for the approval of the Paramount Skydance merger. They additionally said, quote, the Writers Guild of America East stands behind the exemplary work of our members at 60 Minutes and CBS News. We wish their bosses at Paramount Global had the courage to do the same. Paramount's decision to capitulate to Trump threatens journalists' ability to do their job reporting on powerful public figures. Folks, this is why we need independent media. I've always told people that we're dealing with corporate media, and I want to stress the word corporate. I worked at CNN as a commentator for a year. I was a contributing op-ed writer for 5 years at New York Times. Brian, you know him. He's talked about this a lot. There are a lot of good people right now. I have a friend at CBS News who was gutted by this. He said, man, morale is so low because Sherry Redstone capitulated, threw our integrity under the bus just to get more money. She's already a billionaire and she just wanted more. It's corporate news. And there's so many good people, so many good journalists working at 60 Minutes, CBS News, ABC, CNN. But the North Star of corporate media, folks, is not the truth. The North Star of corporate media is not to speak truth to power. The North Star is not to inform Americans. The North Star is ratings. It's money. It's influence. It's both sides. And as we have seen in the past 6 months, first it was CNN that settled when they shouldn't have settled. Then it was ABC that settled and threw George Stephanopoulos under the bus for saying rape instead of sexual assault. They should not have settled. They settled. And now, to let this merger go through, Paramount has thrown its crown jewel, 60 Minutes, under the bus. And it's important for you to know that 60 Minutes did nothing wrong. Just like law firms who should have fought Donald Trump, the top law firms with the top lawyers in the country capitulated, they bent the knee, and they offered $1 billion to Trump in pro bono work, right? They should have fought, they bent the knee. Columbia University should have fought as Donald Trump and MAGA used and abused anti-Semitism as a cudgel to go after universities and free speech and pro-Palestinian activists. And look what happened to them. Was it ever enough? To quote the Bourne Identity, look at what they make you give. Was it enough? Trump still goes after universities, still goes after UPenn, University of Michigan, goes after these law firms, still goes after Democrats, still goes after ABC and CBS. Trump's base calls all corporate media that isn't right-wing media, what? The enemy of the state. Stalin's words. Threats against media have increased. Threats of violence against media has increased. And it's never enough because a fascist wants more. More. They won't stop until they get everything. So instead, maybe, just maybe, I don't know, they could have resisted. But nope, you need more money, Sherry Redstone. So, folks, I was going to swear at Sherry Redstone, but I'm not. I got kids. Mercedes, do you see me? Do you think I'm in a mood? You all know me. I'm in a mood. I usually, but I'm in a mood today. There's some righteous rage, but we'll end on hope. I will say this. If you're one of the 16 people who has Paramount Plus, I love me my Star Trek. Find other ways to get Star Trek. Cancel that Paramount Plus. But the one person who isn't bowing down to the billionaires, the one person who isn't bowing down to the 1%, the one person who did, wait for it, a grassroots campaign, the one person who decided to, you know what, go woke, the one person who didn't throw immigrants under the bus, transgender communities under the bus, Muslims under the bus, workers under the bus, that one person is a dude named Zoran Mamdani. And we found out yesterday that Zoran won by double digits in the New York mayoral primary. Folks, he got 56% of the vote. He beat Andrew Cuomo by 12 points. And folks who are hardcore Democrat here and who don't like any critique of the Democrats, I try to keep it fair. I don't do both sides in the sense that the Democratic Party or those on the left are nowhere near the same as Donald Trump and his fascism. However, I do criticize the Democratic Party because I don't bend the knee to anyone. And during the weekend, folks, while this bill was being debated, this big, beautiful bill from hell, the billionaire bill, you would think that if you were part of the Democratic leadership, you would think that Hakeem Jeffries, Senator Gillibrand, even Eric Swalwell, they would use their prestigious time on cable news to attack the bill, to inform Americans like we are informing you right now about what's in the bill. Instead, they came and smeared Zoran Mamdani. Instead, they said that he has to apologize for comments he never made. Instead, they went out to crush him. When it came to the mayoral race, Bill Clinton came out for Andrew Cuomo. Representative Clyburn came out for Andrew Cuomo. Lawrence Summers came out for Andrew Cuomo. The oligarchy, the billionaires, the 1%, gave millions of dollars to Andrew Cuomo, a predator, to try to defeat Mamdani, and Mamdani still won. And over the weekend, what did Mamdani do? He criticized billionaires, and he also criticized capitalism and quoted MLK saying, call it democracy or democratic socialism. What we need is fairness and equity for all, right? And I believe the reason why they're so pissed off, and I'm talking about the establishment, is because they poured millions. They brought out their heavy hitters, and New Yorkers still voted for Mamdani. Mamdani is like AOC squared. They tried to kill AOC, didn't work. They tried to contain AOC, didn't work. But they said, you know what? AOC, outlier, squad, Queens, New York. But now they're saying, oh, wait, the people are responding to this message to fight against the oligarchy, that this should be a city that should be affordable for all, to speak out for tenants against landlords. Why can't we tax the rich? Why should there be billionaires? We should have affordable buses. What's wrong with the word democratic socialism if it means that this guy will actually support me and my family and workers? You know what? I might have my issues and disagreements on Israel and Palestine, but Palestinians should be free. And why should we throw them under the bus? And why should we arm and fund Israel? And why shouldn't we support the transgender communities? And why shouldn't we support undocumented immigrants? And why are we funding ICE? And that's why the corporate establishment has funded people in the DNC and the RNC and New York Times and others to crush Mamdani, and Mamdani still won. And folks, the people like Bannon and others, they're paying attention. They're paying attention to Mamdani and AOC and what the squad is saying. And they're like, oh shit, they're onto something. They might win over people, because in the 2024 election, the people who voted for Donald Trump, there are a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump who also voted for AOC. In 2016 and 2020 and 2024, a lot of people voted for Donald Trump, also wanted to vote for Bernie. Why? Because they want to take on the oligarchy. They don't want reform, folks. They want restoration. They don't want restoration. They want reform. Mamdani and others want reform, while others want restoration. And Donald Trump is realizing, oh shit, this guy Mamdani, he might be a threat. So this is what Donald Trump said, right? After Trump threatened to have him arrested and deported for opposing ICE raids in New York, Mamdani fired back on Twitter stating, quote, the president of the United States just threatened to have me arrested, stripped of my citizenship, put in a detention camp and deported because I will refuse to let ICE terrorize our city. His statements don't just represent an attack on our democracy, but an attempt to send a message to every New Yorker who refuses to hide in the shadows. If you speak up, they will come for you. We will not accept this intimidation. Folks, I don't know about you, But that's the message I want spoken by all Democratic leaders. That's what I want Chuck Schumer to say, Hakeem Jeffries to say, Representative Clyburn to say. That's what I want all the institutions to say, CBS to say, ABC to say, the law firms to say. I'll quote him again. If you speak up, they will come for you. We will not accept this intimidation. His statements don't just represent an attack on our democracy, but an attempt to send a message to every New Yorker who refuses to hide in the shadows. We want fighters, and he is fighting. While visiting this Florida detention center, which, folks, let's be honest, let's call it what it is, a concentration camp, which is in the pathway of a hurricane. So if the hurricane doesn't kill not just criminals, right? It's going to be immigrants, brown people. The alligators will finish up the job, right? Trump visited Alligator Alcatraz. Trump responded with this Orwellian gem, stating that if Mamdani didn't bend the knee, quote, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over them very carefully on behalf of the nation. New rule. Anytime there's a reporter who's in front of Donald Trump and he keeps using the word communist, which he is, that's going to be the new tell. Each and every person that opposes him is going to be a communist. Ask Donald Trump and ask Republicans to define communism. Ask them to define socialism. Ask them to define Sharia. First of all, it will be glorious entertainment. And second of all, I guarantee you they will be unable to define it. And the question, why is Donald Trump so afraid of Mamdani? Well, is it because of his brown skin? Maybe. Is it because of his beard? Maybe. Is it because he's a 33-year-old who's bilingual? Maybe. Is it because he sees the power that Mamdani and Mamdani's message, folks? I want to really crystallize this. The message of Mamdani and AOC. Does he see the power of the message? And he knows the inevitable victory, it spells trouble. His inevitable victory spells trouble for Donald, Republicans, and the establishment. This is why New York's billionaire elite is panicking. This is why you've seen a collective nervous breakdown over the past week, folks, right? They're looking at Mamdani that like he's like the plague, that somehow New York will be transformed into the Islamic Caliphate of New York, where the Statue of Liberty will wear a burqa, where peanut butter and jelly sandwiches will be replaced by hummus and falafel, which, by the way, is much more healthy, where there will be chai stands on every corner. Again, delicious. And apparently every time you're on the subway, you're going to have someone say, Inshallah, we will arrive at our destination in the Times Square. Inshallah, everyone say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's what they're terrified about. No, not really. They're terrified because of his message that he wants to make the city affordable for everyone and that he is not bending the knee to any corporate donors, to AIPAC, to the billionaires, to Lawrence Summers, to Wall Street. He's taken on Wall Street. And he realizes, just like Steve Bannon and other Democrats realize, oh shit, the people are waking up. Oh shit. Millions of Americans came out and said no kings, including many white people. Oh shit. 60% of Americans are against this big billionaire bill. Oh shit. A lot of people don't care that he's a democratic socialist. They like his policies. And that's why, folks, Mamdani and his message is a threat. It's a threat to the establishment, the 1%, the oligarchy. The mayor of Dallas even called on New Yorkers to move there if Mamdani wins, folks, right? So some are threatening to flee the city, and the Dallas mayor called for folks in New York to move to Texas. Do you like your energy? If you like energy and not freezing to death during climate change, I would recommend staying put in New York City, even though it's unaffordable. And we had Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee. Again, look at the fascist language, openly saying that they should strip Mamdani of his citizenship and deport him. And now you have the president of the United States saying that. And folks, Mamdani is a threat, but not violent insurrectionists who beat up Capitol Hill police officers with a flag, smeared shit in the U.S. Capitol, and plan to overthrow a free and fair election. Those 1,600 violent insurrectionists, folks, were pardoned by Donald Trump, and he's now open to compensating them. Like I said, folks, I'm in a mood. Usually we finish by 6:30, but I'm in a mood. I hope you all don't mind. I've been, Mercedes, let's do the last story. You were talking about Lindsey Graham, right? Let's do a couple minutes of Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham, folks, she took it out of the rundown that we have because I went a bit over. But we might have some good news because I want to stress the fact that Republicans are fighting amongst themselves, right? We got Elon Musk, the world's richest man on earth, who gave $300 million to get access. And this billionaire took a chainsaw to our government through Doge. And now he's pissed off. So he's threatening to primary any person in the House, any House Republican who votes for this bill. Not because he cares about us. It's because of his ego. And it's also because he doesn't like the EV credits, right? And then you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene versus Laura Loomer, racist versus racist. Whoever wins, we lose. You got Ted Cruz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Steve Bannon talking about America first against the strikes in Iran. Now you got Thomas Massey calling out Republican billionaires about this bill. And now you have, according to what Mercedes showed me, a potential challenger coming out against Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. And thank you. I appreciate, Jacqueline, the impression. And here we go. Lindsey Graham has a primary challenger, and not just anyone, former South Carolina Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer, who I believe I used to debate on CNN, who says, wait for it, Graham isn't conservative enough. Take a look at Fox's coverage.
Former Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer is set to run for U.S. Senate. That means a likely primary showdown with Senator Lindsey Graham. Now, Bauer served as Lieutenant Governor of South Carolina from 2003 to 2011. He also served in the state house as a representative and a senator, and Bauer last ran for office in 2012, challenging Tom Rice for his congressional seat in District 7. He also ran for governor in 2010, eventually losing to Nikki Haley. Bauer would be Graham's second primary challenger. Greenville businessman Mark Lynch.
I love it. To quote Ken Watanabe from Godzilla, let them fight. As we have said, fascists come after everyone. We have warned on our individual platforms. We have been warning on Mary Trump's Nerd Avengers. Fascists first come for the most vulnerable. In this case, it was a transgender community. Republicans spent more than $200 million attacking this fake boogeyman, right? The transgender community. There's only 1% of America is transgender, some of the most marginalized people on earth. And now we have more anti-transgender bills than actual transgender athletes, right? You all saw what UPenn did yesterday, stripping the swimmer, Leah Thomas, I believe is her name. If it isn't, someone correct me, of her accolades, just because Riley Gaines was really, really upset, the Alpha Karen, that she placed fifth. Oh, yes, she lost to this transgender swimmer. And they use Riley Gaines as a figurehead to attack transgender people. And folks, that attack on the transgender community rallied a lot of people to vote for Donald Trump, including some Democrats, right? It has happened before against undocumented immigrants, against Muslims, against Black women, the welfare queens, right? So they went after the transgender community. Leah Thomas, thank you so much. Sorry. A University of Pennsylvania, right? And first they went after the transgender community, and I heard a lot of folks say, transgender, I don't really like it. I guess I'm okay with gay marriage, but the transgenders, ugh. Then they went after undocumented immigrants. The undocumented, we want the good ones here, not the ones who come here illegally. And we said, just wait. They're going to come after everyone. Then they went after pro-Palestinian activists. Mahmoud Khalil, who was detained for 104 days, who missed the birth of his child. Why? Because he advocated against a genocide. Zero crimes. Remeza Öztürk, Turkish grad student, got literally, you all saw the video clip, broad daylight, middle of the street, masked ICE agents literally detained her and shipped her to Louisiana. Why? Because she co-wrote an op-ed asking for, divestment from Israel. They just 20 minutes from here, they picked up a post-grad doc, Badr Khan Suri. Why? Because he's a legal immigrant who's married to a Palestinian woman. And some people said, all right, they'll go after the troublemakers, the pro-Palestinian activists. And then they started going after legal immigrants, 238 brown immigrants from El Salvador, including Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And according to the 60 Minutes review and also Bloomberg, 90% of those people have no criminal record, no charges, and they ship them to die in a foreign prison, a gulag in El Salvador. And our taxpayer dollars went to pay off Bukele, the crypto-fascist ruler, right, of El Salvador. Then they went after universities, Columbia University Bethany. Then they went after Harvard so far, Hasn't bent the knee. Then they went after law firms. A couple of law firms capitulated. But guess what, folks? Some law firms said no. And then they went after what? Innocent communities. ICE, along with the National Guard and the military, has been unleashed against Los Angeles. And all the people in Los Angeles are saying, it's not making us safer. It's terrorizing the community. So much so that tomorrow, which is July 4th, which every American, every person should celebrate as a holiday, they're going to reduce the LA July 4th celebrations because people fear ICE will be there to terrorize the communities. ICE is showing up at public schools, elementary schools, at 7-Elevens, at Home Depots. Folks, Friday, sorry. I'm so out of it. Time is a flat circle. I forgot that today's Wednesday. Friday's July 4th. You all know. It's been a long week, right? And so, folks, they come after everyone. And if you don't believe me, Donald Trump said this week he wants to strip U.S. citizens of their citizenship, the ones who have bad moral character. Oh, the adulterer, the criminal, the corrupt, failed billionaire, the man who was held liable for sexual assault and defamation, the man who has had to have fraud settlements for Trump University, for Trump Organization, for Trump Charity. That man is the one who wants to strip citizenship of U.S. citizens that he doesn't like. If you think fascists aren't coming for you, wake the F up. And Republicans and Trump voters, I've been saying it for a while, you ain't safe either. If you don't believe me, look at Tom Tillis. Announced his retirement because he went against the GOP billionaire bill from hell. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene is attacking them, and Steve Bannon's attacking them, and it's Ted Cruz versus Tucker Carlson, and it's now this what is the guy's name? Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer against Lindsey Graham for not being conservative enough, even though Lindsey Graham permanently resides in the anus of Donald Trump. This is where we are, folks. Sorry, Mercedes, but I made Mercedes chuckle. It's going on right now. This is where we're at. But you need release. You need catharsis. You need hope. I refuse, folks, to give in to apathy. I think apathy and cynicism is cheap and lazy, even though it's easy. Why? Because I got 3 kids, and I have to fight for my 3 kids because that generation deserves better. So even though apathy and cynicism, folks, and rage might be short-term sustainable for you, it's like punching your own wall. And what happens when you punch the wall? Well, you got a hole in your wall, and now you got bloody knuckles. Instead, I believe in investing in hope, even when it seems like it's hopeless. But investing in hope isn't just enough. Hope requires action, right? It requires action. Hope is optimism with a plan. And so what we can do with our superpowers, and I believe everyone has a superpower, is at the very least stay informed. At the very least be empathetic. At the very least be kind. At the very least help each other. And folks, I don't need martyrs. When some people say, I've had folks this week say, and I'm sure Zoe, Anus, I had to go there, John, Zoe, I had to go there. Lindsey Graham is the same man who 10 years ago warned us about Donald Trump destroying the Republican Party and America. And then he is closer to Donald Trump's anus. Maybe Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is in there. Lindsey Graham's on the outside, right? These are modern reeks. Just to go to show you what these people are, so craven that they've done a complete 180 to save themselves. And when asked why, Lindsey Graham, you've gone 180 and helped Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham said, because I want to be relevant. So as I was saying, we're going to get to the Mercedes like, bro, we got to stop. Get to the emotional support moment. I was building up to it. We need catharsis. We need release. I do not need martyrs. I do not need people to burn themselves out. I need you for the long run because this is a long walk. And in order to go on the long walk towards reformation, right, towards change, we need people to love themselves, their families, their communities. You need to take breaks. You need to heal, and you need a release. And this is why Susan said Waj is our ESM. We need an emotional support moment. And for today's emotional support moment, Mercedes asked me, like, you have a clip? I got a clip. And I'm like, what clip do you have? She said, you know what? Let's take it back to 1995. We're going to take the DeLorean back to 1995, and we're going to meet one extremely cool cat for your emotional support moment of the day.
Clarence Armstrong has a unique cat.
Yeah, he's pretty unusual. Let's go. Hey, come on.
His name's Tegri, and he's more like a dog than a cat.
I think he's more intelligent than a dog. He likes this.
Every day when the weather's nice, Clarence and Tegri go for a walk, and they usually end up at a fast food restaurant in Renton.
Would you like that with cheese today?
Clarence goes inside and gets a cup of coffee, and Tegri waits for him outside.
He'll just sit right there.
It's darling.
In the summertime, sometimes when it's too hot, I don't bring him over.
Tegri will wait for Clarence for hours. Customers are amazed.
When I first walked up the ramp, I thought it was a statue.
He's the best. We've known him for about, 3 years?
Oh, he's a little sweetheart.
Clarence says he takes Tegri everywhere, to the grocery store, bowling alley, and library. Clarence and Tegri are best friends.
Tegri, you ready to go? Hey, you ready to go home?
That was awesome. That made me happy. Well done, Mercedes. Mercedes, myself, and Mary have always joked that if we simply showed a video of our cats, like if we did a Mary Trump Live or a Nerd Avengers, and we just brought our cats, right? And just had our cats just like, we would get 50,000 live viewers and perhaps more money than anything we've ever done, which is kind of depressing because Mercedes put so much work into this outline and I've been, ranting for an hour. But this is the beauty of cats. And I was actually an anti-cat person, but my kids convinced me to get 2 cats. So now I have 2 cats. And the one cat I got from the shelter, we call him Billu. Of course, this is how cats work. I'm the one who brought the cat for my daughter's birthday. And that cat now sleeps next to me. So that's the beauty of cats. Enjoy your cats, enjoy your family, enjoy your hobbies, enjoy the holiday, folks. I came in last second as a guest. Forgive me if there were any mistakes. This is the first time I've done Mary Trump Live as a guest host when she changed the format. And so they're much more professional now. I remember the good old days when it was just like, we got 50 minutes. Let's just throw shit on the wall. Now they have a script and clips. My God, that was all thanks to Mercedes who did it. So it was me, adjusting on the fly. And like I said, I was in a mood today. I was in a mood. Usually if you all see me, I'm a little bit more chill, but I'm a fast talker. I'm a fast thinker. And we got a lot to talk about. And I appreciate the nearly 2,400 people who have joined us. Folks, this is a part of the show where I want to give a shout out to the audience. The beauty of independent media is we can say what we want and how we want, and we're not beholden to Sherry Redstones. And we are actually dependent upon the kindness of our viewers, of our readers, right? We're like Blanche Dupois. We depend on the kindness of strangers, but specifically this community that Mary has grown and Mercedes has grown over the past year and a half. So I want to give a shout out to all the viewers who've been watching right now, who've given us these, what we call these special stickers, these tips. Literally, these are tips. Thank you to the folks who've given us tips. This is fantastic. $20. My God, I just got my laugh for the day. I believe you said consternation instead of concentration. It works either way. And boo, shame to Murkowski. It's all reason for consternation. Furred brow fee. I will take the $20 for the furred brow. Thanks so much. Who else do we got? We got Sadie Veronica. Thanks so much. My question, my senator is Bernie and our rep is Becca Ballant, who fights for all people. Who can I contact outside my state to get to people who are making our lives miserable? That's a really good question. I would recommend, folks, if you really want to make a dent, local. Invest in local because they respond to you. You can vote for them. It's a direct impact, right? Go local, run for office locally, and bother your local elected officials. Trust me, when you cause some brouhaha at the town halls, they pay attention. I'll give you an example. We're talking about ICE terrorizing LA, right? The local leaders and the local communities put pressure on corporations. And because of the pressure that the local community, not top down, bottom up put, Dodgers rejected ICE when they showed up to Dodger Stadium. And then the Dodgers gave $1 million, just randomly $1 million to immigrant rights. So I would say, Sadie, go local, focus on local over national. I'm talking about county by county, city by city, state by state. This is how we have reformation. If you want to do national as well, go for it, but local. Concentrate in your home, on your street, in your county, in your zip code, and that's how you make this grow. Next up, Michael Easterwood, spooper sticker, $3. And is that a photo of a cat? If so, or a puppy? Either way, I dig it. Thanks for the $3. Really appreciate it, folks. $3 for Lynette, and we got a bird. We got animal lovers. You know who else also has a beautiful bird? Mary Trump. I just have 2 cats and Lego sets. I'm so sorry, folks. Giants fan here. Go Dodgers anyway. I'm a Giants fan as well from the Bay Area. Question. If I were the CEO of Paramount, I'd be seeing Taco Court, right? Trump always chickens out. There'd be no way I'd bend the knee or kiss the ass. Gene, I'm with you. I would never bend the knee. And folks, notice that the first 6 months, the 1% bend the knee, right? I want to remind people at Trump's inauguration, you know who was in the front row? Go back and look at the videos. All the billionaires. Bezos, Tim Cook, who he calls Tim Apple, Joe Rogan's, Dana White, all the billionaires lined up. And that great comic that should have been published in the Washington Post, but wasn't. And Talisa's comment that got deleted, which is why she resigned, where she showed all these folks like Sam Altman and Bezos and others bringing the money bags to Donald Trump, right? Look at what they make you give. It's never enough. Look at these law firms. It's never enough. Look at CBS and ABC. It's never enough. Look at Jake Tapper. It's never enough. Sold himself to kiss the ass of MAGA, and now they mock him even more and call him a cuck, and his ratings have sunk. Speaking about those law firms that offered Donald Trump $1 billion in free pro bono fees, right? Services. Guess what? Now corporations are moving away from them because the people have said, F you, if you're going to use that law firm, I'm going to go to another corporation. Look at Costco. Foot traffic has gone up, whereas Target, that bent the knee against DI, foot traffic has gone down. Look at what they make you give to court the Bourne Identity. I would have fought until the end. If for anything, just your pride. Paramount owning Star Trek, absolutely dystopian. I know. For those who know Mary, she is a huge Star Trek freak. It pains me that Paramount owns Star Trek. I have to find a way to get my Star Trek some other way. But if you got Paramount Plus, cancel it, folks. What else we got? The monthly VA actually paid contribution to Mary's work. Thanks for filling in, Waj. And what's the book club book? Do we know yet? Mercedes, what's the book club book? We do not know yet. Mercedes is typing in, waiting for Mary to confirm. So as soon as Mary gets it when she's back from her vacation, we'll let you know. Lizzie Beth, thanks for the $10. All those who are watching right now, please, if you haven't done it, the 2,200 people, hit subscribe. Ring that bell if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, ring the bell. This is how YouTube works, folks. The more people that subscribe, YouTube boosts that show. That's how the algorithm works, right? The more people like a video, the more that video gets shared. The more you share this video, the more and more people come to YouTube. It's like a cycle, right? So first you got to do, ring the bell, subscribe for free. You'll be notified each time Mary goes live. Also, for all the people giving tips, we have 20 people or so who are giving us tips. Underneath the video, you can see that dollar sign. That's like a tip, the super stickers. It goes a long way. And if you can like it, like I said, please at least like the video. It goes a long way. Anyone who's watching on my Substack, please also be a free subscriber to Mary's Substack and also my Substack, The Left Hook. For those who are watching, I write at The Left Hook Substack like a fool. I have kept everything for free. No paywalls. I'm like Blanche Dubois, depend on the kindness of strangers. Why? Because I believe people should be informed as our democracy is under attack from the oligarchy and fascists. At the very least, if you can't pay a few bucks, at least subscribe and spread the good word. And Mercedes, let's take one or more two. Waiting for Mary to confirm she's traveling. Question, Waj, when should the pitchforks come out? With Repubs in Congress ignoring us, is it time for violence? It's never time for violence, Jacqueline. Never time for violence. I'll give you an example why. America has more guns than people. There are 400 million guns in America for a country of 330 million people. Gun violence is the number one source of deaths of children and teens in America. Just sit with that for a second, right? And I know the calls for violence, right? But you'll get a Luigi Mangione, but you'll also get stochastic terrorism. You'll also get violent extremists. You'll also get hate mongers who come out, right? You'll get political violence from all stripes, but the number one domestic terror threat for several years running, and nothing comes close. Muslim extremist violence doesn't come close. Liberal violence doesn't come close. It's a right-wing extremism, right? So do not, call for violence, folks, because again, this is a country of over 400 million. But I will say this, if you are paying taxes to this government, and this government is stealing your money to give it to the richest 1%. If you are paying taxes and you don't have Medicaid and you don't have Social Security and you don't have FEMA during a crisis. And you have more private prisons than public schools. And people are dying. I remember there was a slogan, and I'm just a simple English major. In a country, and I can't figure out which country this was. I'm just thinking about it because of July 4th, where some folks said, no taxation without representation. Just going to leave that there. Want to do another question? And we'll end it. Love that you're a Trekkie other than being a superb human being. Thanks for the reflections. Regards from Norway. Liz, thank you for Norway. Guess what? I went to Norway, and just goes to show you what an American I am, Liz. I went there for a speech one time, and the guy who was taking me around, a representative from the university, said, "Oh yeah, I went to a great school." And being the American, I'm like, "What school did you go to?" And he said, like, you named the school. I'm like, "How much did it cost?" And he paused and he looked at me. He goes, "Oh no, in Norway we don't have to pay. We actually have excellent schools because we pay taxes." And then he followed up, "We also don't have to pay for healthcare, which is quite good here." So enjoy your excellent schools and your excellent infrastructure and your excellent healthcare, Liz, in Norway. Because in America, the world's most powerful country on earth, life expectancy is going down as measles are going up. Can't make this shit up. Final comment, Mercedes. Should we do a final comment? Gifted $10 to Mary Trump Media. Oh, gifted 10 Mary Trump Media memberships. Neely, that is awesome. She just gifted 10 Mary Trump Media memberships. Folks, thanks so much. For those who joined us late, don't you worry. This will be up in about 2 minutes. We've been talking for an hour. I thought we were supposed to do 35 minutes. And yeah, Waj, glad you're doing a full hour. Sorry, Mercedes. Mercedes, get overtime. I was supposed to just talk for 35 minutes. I'm exhausted, but you all were great. We had a lot to talk about. Thank you all for joining us. This video will be up. If you can, please like this video. Please subscribe. Please share. Shameless plug for myself. My Substack's The Left Hook. It's theleft.hook.substack.com. Thank you, Susan, who is an awesome mod. Give it up for Susan. She comes for Mary Trump. She comes for Danielle at Democracy-ish and Danielle Moody Show. She comes for me when we do the Democracy-ish podcast. You've been fantastic. Folks, I want you to try your best to take the day off on July 4th. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your community. Enjoy the barbecue. Enjoy the fireworks. Fascism will be here. The oligarchy will be here. Racists will be here. We will, inshallah, defeat them. Rebellions are always built on hope, to quote Star Wars. Rebellions are built on hope. But those who are in the Rebel Alliance also need rest and relaxation. I'll say again, I don't want martyrs. I want fighters. And I want joyful fighters. People who are rested, people who are in it for the long run, people who know that this is a long walk that will require sacrifice and pain, but that doesn't mean we have to be miserable all the time. I want you all to be hopeful. I want you to be empathetic. I want you to find joy in your family, in your communities. I want you all to enjoy some tasty food on July 4th. And inshallah, come back refreshed, come back filled with joy, come back energized for the long walk against the Broligarchy. Thank you, Mercedes, for the fantastic work. Thank you for allowing me to fill in for the great Mary Trump. I can never compare or replace her, but I hope I did my part as Brown Mary to keep the show going. And inshallah, you got another show tomorrow and another guest host. Who's the guest host tomorrow, Mercedes? She's running it. Surprise. It's a surprise guest. Okay. So you got to tune in tomorrow for the surprise guests. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves. And please, oh, please don't be a fascist.